Rome 2 Total War has some absolutely beautiful DLC campaigns that if you haven't played already, I cannot recommend enough. Hannibal at the Gates and Caesar in Gaul are both brilliantly balanced narrative campaigns centered around two of the greatest military strategists in history, Imperator Augustus and Empire Divided, both excellent DLCs for some heavy Roman civil war. And while I'm not a huge fan of Wrath of Sparta, there are some really nice mods out there that do turn it into something special. Of them all though, the most underrated is definitely Rise of the Republic, a campaign about the glorious beginnings of Roman conquest and specifically dominance over the Italian peninsula, fight against ancient enemies like the Samnites or the Etruscans, or against new invaders like the Celts of the north or even Carthage, all over a beautiful campaign map that reminds me a lot of Shogun. And best of all guys, the brilliant developers over at DEI and Impera, after months of work, have finally released an initial version of their Rise of the Republic campaign, with brand new updated rosters for Rome, for the Etruscan faction the Tarquina, new mechanics, new flavor. There is a lot to talk about here, so let's get started. Developed by legends Sergeant Meme Swaraj and Summary, who have been doing tons of work across DEI for a couple of years now, this new DEI submod, which is available to download on the Steam Workshop, which I've linked below as well by the way, brings order and balance to Rise of the Republic with some really great, much needed polish and changes. Now, Rome at this time in history was barely a military challenge to its immediate neighbors, with the capital having just been sacked by Italic tribes like the Veii, and generally it's just in a really tough state right now. All of that is about to change though, as Marcus Camillus Furius is given the title of dictator and entrusted to banish the enemies of Rome and establish some military dominance in the region. Now in vanilla Rome, you can pretty much steamroll anyone, and with DEI especially, without this submod, you get access to later units way earlier in Rise of the Republic, which means you can steamroll everyone much faster. So what the new submod does first and foremost is bring the Roman roster back to its ancient roots by having units like the Principes, Hastati, and the Equitae cavalry much more basic and historically accurate. Remember, this is Rome, but very unprofessional and frankly more Greek than Roman, until you hit the manipular reforms on turn 80, armor values, melee AP, melee defense. There's a lot that's been tuned down to make Rome a bit more balanced against other factions, which is really good to see. And with a number of enemy factions surrounding you, you will have a challenging start. Together with the availability of Greek-style hoplites, which is very interesting, and a brand new unique navy roster, which again is very weak and archaic, Rome also comes with a unique building, the Capitoline Hill, which has some pretty awesome faction-wide effects, and a unique government action with the elections that lets you elect a dictator or even consuls for a short period of time, giving some really nice bonuses to your generals. All in all, with this submod, the DLC campaign for Rome is transformed into something truly brand new, and with a stamp of DEI polish makes it very fun to play. And then we have the other side of this submod, which is the Etruscans, which for me is the most exciting part. The changes made here, like the roster updates, the new government action, and other bits and bobs, basically make it so that you can not only pose a serious challenge against Rome, which I'm not gonna lie, if you play your cards right, you can absolutely demolish Rome at the start of your campaign, but also leads to a faction that has some serious depth and flavor. With Corsica ready for invading in the west across the sea, your Etruscan allies buttressing you to the north against savage Celts, there are great adventures waiting for you, great avenues for expansion to upset history and create the Etruscan Republic that never was. The lands of Etruria benefit from having a really unique mechanic here, with a construction system in which upgrading the main settlement building will increase the effect and benefits of other minor buildings in the province, which is really cool. Basically what it means is stacking up on already beefy effects like plus 10% for agricultural income or military effects when you're recruiting units. All of this makes specializing provinces even more important for the player throughout the campaign and almost lends itself to a medieval 2 style construction system. On the other hand though, the Tarquina have this really interesting mechanic in which they revere their capital city. So if for whatever reason you lose the city of Tarquina, you will lose the campaign. The game will just end for you. So you need to defend it at all costs against enemy invaders. And with Rome to your south, if left unchecked, Tarquina can be a very viable target for some pesky dirty Romans. That being said though, with a far more professional and well-trained army made up of Etruscan hoplites, much stronger than Roman hoplites hoplites, Etruscan axemen, swordsmen, cavalry, and spears, I have no doubt you'd have a pretty easy time against any siege of Tarcuna in the short term, and can easily begin an expansion campaign against the Veii and even Rome to the south. It's a hefty roster to start with, and together with a number of starting cities and towns and alliance of friendly neighbors, this is definitely the easier campaign of the two. The Etruscans also come with a unique government ability called the Hold Summit, in which nobles gather for a feast to discuss matters of state, giving you faction-wide bonuses at the cost of money that is definitely worth doing as much as you can. Both Rome and Tarcuna are the first and currently only playable factions touched by the DEI devs in this way. You can expect brand new generals, new army tactics and balance, some really nice work on into making sure they both play dynamically against enemies that can definitely threaten the status quo, and they both are a brilliant testament to not only what DEI Dev Summary and Sergeant Meme Swaraj are capable of, but what the future might hold for the rest of the factions and the DLC. This is the first iteration of the work as a submod, so hopefully what will happen is the rest of the team see this and go, wow, guys, Summary, Sergeant, you've done something amazing. Let's get this all much more polished, a lot more work gone into it to add into the main DEI mod, with expanded modding going into factions like Syracuse, the Greek colonies like Taris, and even work to unlock new factions for some playable Gallic invasions, or dare I even say Carthage. I mean, hell, with a map modding tool developed for Dauntless Days on Attila, the team could even expand the map east a bit to include Epirus and some other Greek players in the area. There are loads of avenues for new content to be added here, and there's so much that can be done. It's so exciting that this is just starting. Overall, I've played about 40 turns with both Rome and Tarcuna so far, and I love both of them. The army rosters are super fun, the work translates really well to the battlefield, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for the Rise of the Republic, especially with DEI. If you ever thought about getting to the DLC again or getting back into playing DEI, now is an excellent time. Finally, it's worth saying that the installation is super easy, guys. If you're wondering, I can give you a little tip here. Just subscribe to the mod on the Steam Workshop, and when you run the game, make sure to place the submod above the other 3 parts of Divide and Impera. If you have any questions or you're experiencing any issues, feel free to drop by either my Discord or the official DEI Discord linked below in the video description. And that's it for today, guys. Rise of the Republic is finally getting some DEI love. Perhaps in the near future, they do a bit of work on Empire Divided as well. Who knows? But until then, get in there and enjoy this amazing piece of work. Well done, Summary or Sergeant, if you're watching this, and keep it up. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, do give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel for more DEI updates like this and Total War content in general. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.